Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business. Hello, Front Seat Lifers. It is your host, Jessica Butts, and I am excited to come to you today on the summer solstice. For those of you who will listen to these as they come out, today is June 21st. It is Friday, June 21st, and it is the beginning of summer, kind of the time of year that so many of us wait for, especially us Seattleites. Wow. We live for this time of year. It is usually very beautiful here in Seattle, and it is a time to pay attention to what we're going to talk about today. Do you want more time? Question mark. My guess is everybody wants more time. So today I want to talk to you about time blocking, rocks, and A-listers. Oh my. Because these three things that I have learned from a plethora of different people in my life, Stephen Covey, one of my actually dear friends in my mastermind group taught me about A-list, B-list, and C-list friends, and also activities that we do in our life. And then also time blocking that I have learned throughout the years in my business and my life. And these three things have not only kept my personality type sane, it has also given me more time and freedom. So today's episode is going to be an excellent one. So let's jump in. All right, you guys, let's talk today about time blocking, rocks, and A-listers. So again, summer is upon us. This is something that I actually do every single season. I do a reevaluation of my time blocking, my energy levels, the rocks in my life, and then A-list, B-list, and C-list things and activities. So let me teach you a little bit about what these are. So time blocking is something that I learned years ago from one of my coaches, and it is something that I have put into my journal, which is called Be Unapologetically Who You Are. It's available on Amazon if you're interested in purchasing that. And on page 24 and 25, I lay out a weekly schedule, which includes all of the hours of the day where I believe people should be time blocking time. Because one of the things that I have learned previously as a psychotherapist, but certainly as a leadership, life, and entrepreneur coach, is that people underestimate how much time they have available. They think they have so many more hours in the day and in the week than they actually do. And one of the best things that I've ever watched somebody do in my life was during a mastermind. It was my coaching group, my mastermind group. And this client of mine, spent her entire mastermind time in front of a whiteboard while the rest of us were in silence because she desperately needed to do this. And she spent her entire hour, I believe, time blocking the reality of her life as an entrepreneur, a student of mine, a mother, a wife. She volunteers. She does things at her kids' school. She's a daughter of somebody. Her mother lives locally. She had a lot of balls in the air, a lot of different things she was doing in her life. And she had way, way, way overscheduled herself. And she was just exhausted. She was irritated. She was agitated. She was stepping into victim mentality. Lots of us are either persecutors, victims, or martyr when we get really stressed out. I certainly become a martyr. And so she really spent this time kind of getting clear and getting honest about our time. So that's where I want to start today, is spending some time asking you to either get out a weekly schedule on your own. It might be in a journal that you already use. You might want to go purchase mine. You might just print something off of the internet, use your phone, do something. But realistically, sit down and time block, especially now that it's summer solstice. So one of the things about summer is I believe that sun is an energy credit. However, there's a caveat to sun being an energy credit. One, there's just way more time in the day, right? The sun in Seattle right now is up at 5:15 a.m. In the winter, I mean, it doesn't come up until like 8:30. And so that's literally like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more hours of sunlight. And again, I've always kind of joked that I believe that the sun is an energy credit. Can I get any amen for that? It's like all of a sudden you have more energy because you're excited, you want to be outside, and you want to do more things. However, who are my J personality types? So you guys listen to this podcast to know enough about P personality types and J personality types. Ps thrive in the summer because they love the unstructured energy of summer. So summer comes with all kinds of weird, wonky energy. One, we're not in school. The kids aren't in school. We remember that feeling of the unstructured time. And then two, just realistically, energetic wise, there are more hours in the day. And so there becomes what I have called this just wonky summer energy. It's all over the place. People aren't as structured. There's more hours in the day. And for us control freak Jays, right, ladies and gentlemen, we like control. We actually like fall and winter typically better for our energy than we actually like summer. And so for those of you who have just found this podcast, that might actually be a really shocking news to you. So you might want to go back and listen to my episode about J's and P's in particular, because when you figure this out, it's pretty life altering. I know that I figured this out years ago about myself and just thought, what the F is wrong with me? Every summer I go through this like weird seasonal depression. I get down and sad and irritated. And it's just been this way until I finally figured out it's a direct correlation to there being too much time in the summer for my need for control. I mean, for those of you who are listening right now, that might have just been a mind-blowing comment because I remember that feeling of figuring that out and going, holy shit, where most people love that, me as a strong J and very much a strong control freak, that energy was unstabilizing to me and therefore made me feel very unstable. I mean, just to put it, the unstable energy makes you feel unstable. So time blocking for both personality types, J's and P's, this time of year is critical. It's critical because P's, you guys have a natural tendency, let's get real, to be all over the place anyway. You're scattered, you're squirrels, you love that energy. Oh, let me go over here. Oh, let me overbook myself. Oh, yes, I can have lunch. Oh, yes, I can do this. Oh, yes, I can do that. Oh, how many happy hours? How I can do all the things. And then eventually you feel exhausted as well. And then it's critical for us Jays because we need the new structure. So we need to potentially add in some rest times. We might need to add in a new activity like paddleboarding or yoga or I don't know what it is, but some sort of like 2-hour block of time because there's just so much more time. I mean, think about it. Sometimes in the winter, I mean, can we get honest here? I'm not going to lie. There are times that I get in bed in the winter at like 8 p.m. For reals. And I know there's other people around the country that do the same thing around the world. And this time of year, I would never even contemplate that because it's light until almost 10 p.m. And so there's just more hours of the day, but all of a sudden we're expected to have more things to do and more energy. Where again, P's love that unstructuredness, but us J's, we kind of go through hours a day where we're like, oh my God, shit. Like I feel lost. I feel a little insecure, unstable, again, that kind of wonky energy. So time blocking is literally just, again, I lay out all the hours of the day in half-hour increments in my journal. And that's what I would also suggest is, Monday through Sunday. I started at 5 a.m. because I get up early. Some people get up even before I do. And time blocking, what are you going to do? Each kind of hour chunk, 2 hours chunks. When are you seeing clients? When are you meeting with friends? When are you sleeping? When are you exercising? When are you grocery shopping? When are you commuting? I mean, especially those of us who live in Seattle, like that is no joke. I mean, it can take an hour really to get anywhere, even if it's, 15 minutes down the road these days. And so getting realistic about our schedule can give two things. It can give P's the structure that they need during this time of year, and it can give J's a sense of stability, a sense of, okay, I know what I'm going to be doing today, even though there's all these extra hours. I'm going to be very transparent. I feel a little weird saying this because there might be some judgment. This time of year, I nap a lot because there's so many more hours in the day. I have learned how to allow myself to take kind of a God, this sounds so weird as a busy entrepreneur, but I take like a 90-minute to 2-hour break in middle of the day. So I might go paddle boarding, I might read a book, or I might take a nap. But it is about 3 to 5 in the afternoon. I've never been a very productive person. In fact, it's in the evening time right now, and I already took a break. I read for about an hour, and I took a nap for about an hour, and now I'm doing a podcast in the evening because there is, again, so much extra time. So I encourage you to allow yourself to think outside the box, to allow yourself new ways of being in the winter versus the summer. So the fall energy, the winter energy is obviously a little more similar. And then spring energy and summer energy is obviously a little more similar. So I very, very, very much encourage you to just allow yourself to have a different schedule. Allow yourself to do some different things, to add in some different activities that you might not normally do without judgment. So that's time blocking. I'm going to be talking a ton about it in summer school if anybody is interested in that, or the Girl Boss group, but time blocking is a game changer for J's and P's. So let's talk about the next thing. So this is from Stephen Covey. My very, very dear friend, Lisa Fisher, actually taught me this, and I want you to have a visual of it. So we've talked about time blocking. Now we're going to talk about rocks. And rocks are this idea that if you were to put your A-list things, which we're about to talk about, if you're going to put your rocks into a cylinder, so let's just say, the cylinder is a metaphor for the time, and the rocks are the big things that are important in your life. So you might have, 5. I realistically think you only have about 5 or 10 rocks in your life, and they're pretty big. So you put those in the cylinder first, and then you fill it up with sand because that is the remaining space you have available. So imagine doing it the opposite. And I think this is what most people do, because most people don't even look at rocks. They don't even look at the things in their life that are considered rocks. They fill it up with all the sand. And if you fill a cylinder with sand and then try to put in the rocks, they don't fit. I mean, just have that visual. I mean, whatever you're doing right now, it's a pretty simple visual that if you fill it with sand, which are B-list friends, things that don't matter, time wasters, spending time with people who no longer serve you, not letting go of the past, those kinds of things, that's the sand. Those are the minuscule bullshit things in your life that add up to ruining your life. So let's talk about what the rocks are, because you guys are smart people. You're listening to this podcast. You get the analogy. The rocks are the big things in your life that need to go into the cylinder first. And this is selfish. This is self-care. This is self-preservation. And this is allowing yourself to say no to the things that don't actually matter in your life. We have a tendency to be people pleasers. We are a very codependent generation. We as women want to say yes to everything, and saying yes to everything is ruining our lives. There is a great show, regardless of whether you like the show, Dead to Me on Netflix right now with Christina Applegate. She plays this hilarious, kind of bitchy character. But there is this montage of her character saying no and setting boundaries in this show. And yes, is her character a little bitchy? Absolutely. But the reality is she is actually someone who just sets boundaries. She says, no, that doesn't work out for me. No, I don't really want to hang out with you. No, I don't want to have a hug. No, I'm not going to go to that PTA meeting. No, I'm not going to go do the thing. And there's this montage of her saying no. And really the people that put the montage together are saying, wouldn't it be nice if we actually lived a little more like that? If we just said no to the things that actually aren't that important to us. All right, front seat lifers. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I am doing something I have never done before. I am doing front seat life summer school for all my girl boss ladies out there. This is for the entrepreneurs that are kind of just starting out and or have been flailing in their business. They're kind of all over the place. They can't get their shit together. They don't know what's wrong. They don't understand because they haven't built the foundations of their business. So for the entire month of July and August, and then a huge epic one-day implementation and integration session in person or live stream on September 4th, I am going to help you get the foundations of your business together. We are going to cover what to do first and when, your website, your logo, your email list, all the stuff, social media, when, where, how often, what is your point of view, figuring out what your niche is so you can be rich and not broke, your front seat and your back seat, building a team, when to do it, how to do it, and figuring out don't do stuff that you suck at, how to stay motivated, support, mastermind, and accountability partners. What is your zone of genius? Scheduling, which is time blocking, what's important to you, CEO time, rocks, 90-day goals, which has changed my business and my clients' business, mindset, and then of course, lastly, my signature system, the 3S method of structures, systems, and singular focus. It's time to put your money where your mouth is. For those of you, and I know you guys because I've had millions of you as my clients, maybe not millions, hundreds of you as my clients, you're flailing. You've been making this promise to yourself and to your spouse, and you're saying you're going to get it together, and you never do. This is your opportunity to get everything in one place. It is Front Seat Life Summer School. We're going to get you in June. It starts July 8th. Every Monday at 9 a.m., I will be giving you content. You will then be doing homework, and you will end the week with implementation. That is an 8-week process. And then again, we have an epic full day. You can come to Seattle, you can live stream it, where we will do an entire day of integration and implementation. This is it, guys. I'm so excited to bring you this because I have been hearing this from my clients for years that this is something that they need and want. And I am finally bringing it to you all summer long. Get yourself signed up. It's only open May until June 25th. That's it. I will see you there. So part of your homework is, what are your rocks? I want you to list what they are. I'm going to give you some suggestions on what I think they should be. And again, I think we all only have about 5 to 10 of them. So a rock should be, first and foremost, yourself. It should be self-care, taking care of yourself, time by yourself, you. Getting away, going to the spa, reading, walking by yourself, whatever it might be. A night a week, a weekend a month, a trip once a year, all of the above. I don't know. But you should be your number one rock. Sleep, self-care, taking care of your body, time alone, all the things. Number one. Number 2 should obviously be your most intimate relationship in your life. Your partner, your husband, your wife, whoever your life partner is, that should absolutely be probably your second rock. Again, I don't want to prioritize these for you because that's your decision. For a lot of you, God, your religion, your time with God, your time with your church, your time with the Bible, the time with your Bible study, whatever that relationship, your relationship with God, that might be on there. Obviously, if you have children, the relationship with your children, and your children might be many rocks. I know, a lot of parents of 3 or 4 children, and they don't block that time as just their children. Each one of their children is a rock because they choose to spend time with each of their children in separate and personal ways. So, I mean, right there, that takes up a lot of time, all of that. Then your work, whatever you do for a business. So obviously I'm an entrepreneur. I wear a number of hats. I work all the time. This is a huge rock, and a lot of things in my life come secondary or third or fourth or fifth to my business because it's very, 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 very important to me. I love it. As a single person, it's also the only stream of revenue in my life. And so not only do I love the work, I love my clients, but it's also, obviously very important for me to live. So that, your business, your job, your work, your entrepreneurship, and then your core family, your family of origin, your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your immediate family. And then I think we get into health, exercise, whatever else self-care looks for you. And then I would consider something that's the third topic of what I want to talk about today before I let you go. Our A-list friends and activities. So you have filled in most of the time or most of that cylinder with rocks. I bet it's pretty full. I mean, if you think about that, that was 7 or 8 rocks. The cylinder's already pretty full. If you start living your life by filling your cylinder and your time block. So again, I'm going in sequence here if you don't get my drift yet. Your time blocking should first be filled with these time blocks. And you might even put A-list time blocks or your rocks in a specific color. So all of those might be in pink or red or blue or green to show that this stuff is the most important things in my life. Exercise, self-care, time with my dog, time with myself, time with my spouse, time with my multiple children, time volunteering, time running my business. And quite honestly, if I'm sitting here in my office looking at that calendar right now, with that amount of stuff, my calendar is pretty damn full. I might have literally only a few hours a week left. A couple hours a week left after that. And then it gets into this question that my dear, dear friend Debbie taught me a few years ago, and it changed my life. And this is going to sound really harsh, but I encourage you to do this activity the second you get done listening to this because it'll shock the shit out of you. I want you to make a list of A-list, B-list, and D-list. I wouldn't even do C. A, B, and D, meaning D list, don't get your time and energy, of friends and activities that fall in those categories. The only rest of the rocks are the A-list activities and friends. I know it sounds harsh, but figuring out who your A-list friends are versus your D-list friends will save you, oh my God, so much time, so much strife. It will give you your life back. In fact, I'm going to tell a personal story. I just had somebody reach out to me who's not a friend. She's not a friend. She's basically an acquaintance who I think she thinks we're more friends than we are. And I don't mean that in a bitchy way. It's just a fact. And quite honestly, I actually think she's trying to sell something to me, if I'm being really honest. She is trying to sell me something. and she checks in as if she cares about me, and then she wants to have this super long engaged conversation, and then it always comes back to she wants to sell me something. Well, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. What is the saying? Fool me once, shame on you? Yes. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you do it again, you're just a dumbass. So that's how I feel about this, is I got fooled once. I got sucked into this conversation with her, and then it happened again, and I realized, oh my God, this is happening again. So she just reached out just today, yesterday, and she started the same bullshit conversation with me over Facebook Messenger. And I just didn't even respond this time. And so she came back again and said, hey, I'm checking in again. Did I do something to offend you? And I just want to say, bitch, this is offensive. You wasting my valuable time acting like you care about me is offensive. So I didn't say that. I probably should have, quite honestly. Instead, I just said, I'm very busy. Thank you for reaching out. And that was it. Like, I am not going to waste my time and take away from my rocks. Because let's get real. If I even spend 10 minutes engaging with this person who doesn't even have good intentions, or is most certainly not on my A list, not even close to my B list. She's a D list at best. If I even spend 10 minutes of my time with her, I am taking away 10 minutes of time I could spend on my business, time that I could spend corresponding with an actual friend, self-care time. I mean, in 10 minutes, I could meditate and make myself feel way better, or I could spend 10 minutes wasting my time on this sand. This person that is a D list that does not matter. And is this harsh in the beginning, setting boundaries? Absolutely it is. It abso-freaking-lutely is. You're going to feel like an asshole. People might think you're an asshole. Like this woman. Well, are you okay? Or why did I hurt your feelings? Yeah, you kind of did, but I'm not even going to get into it because you're a D-list person. I'm not even going to spend my fucking energy trying to explain this to you because I don't have to. We live in a really fucked up world right now, if we're getting honest, about all the ways people can message you. And then they get offended or somehow if you don't respond to them in a time frame. And I don't even know who they are, or you don't even know who they are. You can text people, you can send them emails, you can DM them on Instagram, you can send private messages on Facebook, you can send LinkedIn messages. I mean, it is straight Marco Polo, not even to mention Snapchat and Marco Polo and all of those apps. It is overwhelming. So I encourage you over the next 90 days to really get clear about who and what are your A-list friends and activities, and make them a rock. And then everything else needs to be reevaluated. And massive boundaries get set. And a boundary is, I'm just not going to respond to you. A boundary is, I make a choice to not drop everything to jump to do this thing that isn't really even that important. And this is the world that we live in. We think we make other things, or we allow other things to be more important than our rocks. Like, how screwed up is that? What is more important than ourselves? What is more important than our spouse, our significant other, our partner, our children, our mothers and fathers and friends, and then our A-list friends? I mean, I live a very, very, very busy life. I have a lot of clients. I've got wonderful, amazing friends, and a huge busy life. And I have learned that setting these boundaries, time blocking, figuring out what my rocks are, deciding what my A-list friends and activities are, even activities. Like, we can't have every hobby in the godforsaken world. Like, we have to decide what are not only are my A-list friends, but what are my A-list activities? What do I really actually enjoy spending my time doing? And saying no to certain things. Your friends might want to go, I don't know, do something you don't really want to do. Do you have to go do that? Is it worth your time and energy? And just learning how to say no. Let's all take a lesson from the playbook of Christina Applegate from, Dead to Me on that Netflix show and just learn to start saying no. I promise you, oh my God, the freedom that is going to come from this is going to change your life. So I encourage you, before I close, to practice. Practice over the summer. Today is June 21st. Ironically, my Front Seat Life event is 3 months from now. If you plan on coming, it's in Seattle. It's going to be epic. The Front Seat Life event. If you do plan on coming, it's 3 months from today. And I think that's pretty ironic timing that you could literally check in with yourself 3 months from today and ask yourself, how much happier am I? How many things that no longer served me have I said goodbye to? And what freedom and new activities and or new relationship, new money, new clients, new things have come into your life because you've learned how to time block, figure out what your rocks are, figure out your A-list, and then say no. All right, Front Seat Lifers, thank you for listening. I hope this inspired you. As always, please go over to iTunes and give me some comments. 5-star reviews mean absolutely everything to me. Sharing this episode also means everything to me. So for those of you who are still on the fence about summer school, you literally have today, Monday, and Tuesday to get yourself enrolled. All right, everybody, I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye. All right, everybody, I have a confession to make. I have a new obsession, and that obsession is reading your ridiculously wonderful, loving, amazing reviews on iTunes. I love them. None of this even matters without all of you. So as a thank you, each week I will be reading one review on air and calling out your review with your name or your iTunes handle. So here's how it's going to go. You're going to go to Instagram and follow me at Front Seat Life. When you hear your name called out on the podcast, you are going to send me a DM with your address and say, "Oh my gosh, you just read my review." And I or my team will be sending you some Front Seat Life swag. We've got books and we've got tank tops and we've got journals and we have these adorable pink swells. So we will be choosing from the goodie bag and sending it out as a thank you. So thank you in advance. And I am so deeply honored to have the opportunity to thank you back. All right, everyone. Today's might be one of my favorites because it has emojis in it and I love the name. So this comes from BakerBoy01. And the title is This Girl with a unicorn emoji, a kissy emoji, and a fireworks emoji. So I already love it. I actually haven't even read it, so I already love it. And Baker Boy writes, "This girl in this podcast is everything. She brings the truth every week and lights my entire spirit on fire to go after more each and every week. Thank you, Jessica. You rock, sis." Thank you, Baker Boy, for the amazing 5-star reviews. Thank you for brightening my life with your awesome emojis, your 5-star review, and all of your wonderful, wonderful words. So, Baker Boy, we will be sending you some swag. So go friend me over on Front Seat Life. Like me over there on Instagram. Send me a message that says, "Oh my God, Jessica, you just read my review," and we will send you whatever awesome stuff you want. See you guys next week. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at
jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.